I'd like to start by acknowledging First Nations people across the state and their continued connection to their lands, waters, and culture. We respect elders past and present and the role that First Nations artists play in contributing to their culture. We also recognize the traditional owners of the different lands we're working on today. For me, that is Gadigal land. And I would also like to extend those respects to our First Nations colleagues here at Create New South Wales and to any First Nations people joining us on the call today. Today's webinar will provide an overview of the guidelines for two-year multi-year funding, which is part of Create New South Wales's Arts and Cultural Funding Programme, or ACFP for short. We wanted to take this opportunity prior to the round going live for applications in March 2025 to explain what you will need and how to apply. The two-year funding programme will support small to medium organisations, local government authorities and service organisations by providing core investment to the New South Wales arts and cultural sector. The funding is designed to support sustainable growth and development of the industry, strong, sustainable business models, and a focus on all New South Wales citizens being given the opportunity to contribute and experience arts and culture. The programme will support both emerging and established arts and cultural organisations, and the funding period covers 2 calendar years, from the 1st of January 2026 to the 31st of December 2027. How much your organisation can apply for depends on 2 categories. If your organisation has not previously received annual or multi-year organisation funding from Create New South Wales, you can apply for between $60,000 and $100,000 per annum. If your organisation has previously received annual or multi-year organisation funding from Create New South Wales in 2022-23, 2023-24, or in 2025, then you can apply for up to $200,000 per year. To be eligible to apply, your organisation must demonstrate it meets all the eligibility criteria on this slide. The organisation must be an independent, not-for-profit arts and cultural organisation, service organisation, or an LGA business unit whose primary purpose is to deliver arts and cultural activities. You must be based in New South Wales. If your organisation is based outside New South Wales, but can demonstrate that your programme delivers significant arts and cultural outcomes in New South Wales, you can seek approval to apply by contacting Create New South Wales at least 2 weeks prior to the closing date for applications. Organisations must have an ABN and have operated as a legally constituted entity delivering arts and cultural activities for a minimum of 1 year at time of application. Individual business units of LGAs, such as council-managed art galleries or performing arts centres, can submit applications individually. You must be able to address and deliver on at least one of the ACFP strategic priorities, which we'll look at in a moment. You must include a financial contribution of at least 20% of the grant application and have an annual turnover in the most recent financial year of more than $30,000. This can include Create New South Wales grants, but excludes Create Infrastructure and COVID funding. Ensure at least 10% of your funding request is allocated to supporting collaboration. And if working with First Nations artists and/or communities, confirm you adhere to Indigenous cultural and intellectual property policies and procedures and the Create New South Wales Aboriginal Cultural Protocols. You can't apply for 2-year funding if you are already receiving Create New South Wales funding for the same period. For organisations primarily focused on filmmaking and screen production, there are programmes for support managed by Screen New South Wales. And for programmes primarily focused on contemporary music, please look for information with Sound New South Wales. Please be aware that if your organisation is successful in receiving multi-year funding, You will not be able to apply for any additional ACFP project funding, so make sure to include your total ask to deliver your program in your multi-year application. Make sure you read the guidelines thoroughly to check your eligibility and contact the team if you have any questions. Two-year funding is focused on supporting operational business development and the presentation or production development of new artistic products or services. As an example, Create New South Wales funds can be used for a range of activities, including business planning development or sustainability and capacity building initiatives. This could involve the costs to develop a refreshed business model, strategic plan, or workplace policy, such as Aboriginal cultural protocols, or a skills development program. Development of audiences, including marketing plans and partnerships, creation of new work, productions, presentations, or publications. For service organisations and independent arts and cultural organisations, funding can contribute to operational costs, such as staff salaries, rent, utilities, and the day-to-day costs of running your operation. Local government business units can only use funding towards the costs of program delivery. Funds can be used to purchase equipment as long as you can clearly demonstrate it is integral to the arts and cultural activity that you're delivering. Service organisations can also include delivery of devolved funding programs. Successful applicants will be expected to deliver on at least one of the 5 ACFP strategic priorities. Firstly, prioritising First Nations stories and communities ensures that Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples of New South Wales receive focused support for their cultural continuity and artistic endeavours. This priority acknowledges and focuses on the diverse Aboriginal nations within the state of New South Wales. More information about First Nations and Indigenous cultural and intellectual property ICIP principles are available on the Create New South Wales website. The second priority area is focused programs and support in Western Sydney or regional New South Wales. You can find a full list of the local government areas that make up Western Sydney in the glossary, and they will be posted in the chat. Regional New South Wales is defined as the areas outside Greater Sydney, and the definitions will also be posted. The next generation of creatives and audiences refers to young people aged between 18 and 25, emerging artists in the first 5 years of their practice, and new audiences, and has a focus on career pathways and skills development. Broad and inclusive communities refers to the wide diversity of people in New South Wales. It includes those from cultural and linguistically diverse communities, people of non-English speaking background, First Nations communities, and those who identify as part of the LGBTQIA+ community, and people with disability or who are deaf. You may also consider the diversity of audiences, artists, and arts and cultural workers. When thinking about broad and inclusive content, it can include new and emerging digital and experimental art forms and practice, as well as existing and traditional art forms. And the 5th strategic priority is accessibility and equity, which is about removing barriers for engagement with your programs. This means the inclusion of people with disability or who are deaf, but can extend to physical, financial, economic, and social accessibility as well. The guidelines outline the 3 weighted assessment criteria. Artistic and/or business innovation will make up 40% of the application and is about new approaches to business planning and artistic or service delivery. Diversity and participation will make up 30% of the application and is about how your organisation delivers for your targeted communities. It covers opportunities for First Nations people, inclusive and accessible programming, and supporting career pathways. And organisational sustainability will also make up 30%. This is about showing your organization can deliver the proposed program based on the budget and supporting materials you provide, and is about sound financial and organizational management and safe workplace practices. The application requirements have been simplified as part of the new ACFP to make the process simpler, fairer, and faster. Whilst the applications won't open until March next year, the questions are already included in the guidelines that are available on the website, and there's a link in the chat. When thinking about your responses to the 4 questions, be mindful you will need to address at least one of the ACFP's strategic priorities. The first question focuses on the unique role that your organisation plays in the New South Wales arts ecology. It relates to the artistic and/or business innovation assessment criteria. In answering the question, you could also think about the unique things your organisation delivers in terms of your audience, art form, or the services you deliver. The second question is your opportunity to describe what activities your proposed program will deliver over the 2 years. There will be a template to help you. You'll also need to talk about the changes that you'll make to your business as usual operations while building new partnerships, products, or implementing a new business model, or working on refreshing your strategic plan or workplace policies as part of your program. The third question addresses the diversity and participation assessment criteria. It's an opportunity to explain how your organization supports participation by diverse communities and audiences. For example, your organization may provide self-determined opportunities for First Nations creatives and arts and cultural workers, or delivers programming or services that are inclusive and accessible. The fourth question addresses the assessment criteria of organizational sustainability and diversity and participation. Explain how your organization will support sustainable career pathways for artists and/or arts and cultural workers. You may also wish to outline how you create a safe workplace and your rationale behind your wages and fees. The checklist in the guidelines will help you tick off all the requirements as you go. For 2-year funding, applications do not require a strategic plan like the 4-year and 8-year programs. However, you will need to provide an artistic or service plan using the template provided and a budget using the online form. When completing your artistic service or service plan of activities, you will outline each activity planned for your program, the date and location where the activity will take place, the key personnel that will deliver the activity if they're confirmed, and your target audience for those activities. You will complete a budget in the online form showing your projected income and expenditure to deliver your program. And remember, the budget should include a breakdown of all sources of income, including any in-kind or other income such as additional grants, revenue from ticket sales, or philanthropic contributions. An optional template will be provided, which is not mandatory, but you can choose to use it to assist you in drawing up your budget. You will also need to upload an audited financial report for your most recent financial year, which will be the period ending in June 2024 or December 2024, depending if your organization accounts on a calendar or financial year basis. Samples of work. This is where you can provide supporting visuals or additional information, such as your most recent annual report on what your program currently delivers. You may also wish to provide material that shows how you engage with your audiences and the New South Wales communities you service. There will be a data limit indicated in the application form. If you have a confirmed organizational chart and/or governance structure, then you'll also be indicated where to upload it in the application form, and this helps the assessors to reflect on the organizational sustainability assessment criteria. Art form boards. As part of the application, you'll be prompted to select which of the 10 art form boards best suits your organization. Presenting organisations that programme activities and events across multiple art forms are encouraged to select multi-arts as well as their primary art form board in the application form. These applications will be assessed by a subcommittee of members drawn from across the relevant art form boards. Further guidance and information on the assessment process can be found in the guidelines. If you are successful, reporting requirements have been reduced as part of the simpler, fairer, and faster new ACFP. Only successful organisations will now need to provide key performance indicators to Create New South Wales, including showing that 10% of annual Create New South Wales funding supports collaboration. Create New South Wales will meet with funded organisations each year to discuss their KPIs, programme delivery, and overall financial health. Organisations will only need to provide a financial report to Create New South Wales in year 1 and an organisational and financial acquittal at the end of year 2. Notification of application outcomes are expected to be approximately 8 weeks after the round closes, and funding agreements for successful organisations will be issued around 1 month after you've been notified. Thank you for attending the webinar today. For more detailed information, please make sure you read the guidelines carefully and keep up to date for when the applications go live by subscribing to Create New South Wales's e-newsletter, at this stage expected to be in March 2025. The URL on this slide, nsw.gov.au/ACFP, is your one-stop shop to find everything related to the ACFP, including guidelines, templates, contact information, and other resources. If you've read through the guidelines and still have a question, please don't hesitate to contact the team at multiyear@create.nsw.gov.au, or you can schedule an appointment with a team member by using our Microsoft Bookings app. The link is posted in the chat. Okay, let's see if we have any questions.
Hello everyone, my name's Katrina. I'm joining you from Gadigal land today. I'm going to start going through the questions in the chat, so pop them in there if you have any you'd like to ask today. We've got one from Liz. Apart from the difference between 2 and 4 years, are there any other points of difference or emphasis between the 2 and 4 year multi-year funding programs which we need to consider in choosing between them?
Thanks for the question, Liz. I think when you go through the guidelines for 4-year and 2-year, what distinguishes this 2-year program is probably the emphasis on sustainability of organizations and really focusing on development of business models and business plans, your strategic plan, and doing some of those sort of sustainability and capacity building work. And also the presentation and production of new works as well.
Can I add to that, Anna?
Yeah.
I think the difference, apart from that, you do a strategic plan for the 4-year. You can actually use the 2-year funding to look at your business model, to be able to test and trial ideas about what might work, and it also can be towards the presentation of activities. So it's more about how do we give arts and cultural organisations the opportunity to really work through where they may fit within the New South Wales ecology, and also because it's the space that new organisations can enter as well, to really start building those relationships with Create and building new services, products, ideas across New South Wales.
Thanks, Brianna.
Thank you both. We have another question here from Catherine. Can you provide more detail around the 10% funding request allocated to supporting collaboration?
Do you want to take that one, Bri?
I'll take that one. as part of the launch of the Creative Communities policy, there's a significant vein through the policy that really talks about the importance of collaboration. Many organisations inherently do collaborate, whether it's with your communities, whether it's with your artists, whether it's with partner organisations, whether it's with state government. This is really just about saying of the whole budget amount that you will receive, just making sure that 10% of that is going towards collaborative activity. And you as the applicant will be able to define what that collaborative activity is, and that will be worked out at the contracting stage for the successful recipients.
Great.
Thank you, Bri.
Another question here from Serena. Does project funding for orgs and LGAs still exist? LGA refers to local government area.
Project funding does still exist. It's just that if you are successful for multi-year funding, you won't be eligible to then also apply for project funding. So if you're a successful organization through the multi-year, or when you're putting your application together, just make sure that you have that in mind so that you're rolling, you know, all of that ask into the one application. So you're not having to do more than one application for what you need.
And to add to that, organisations will be able to apply, organisations that are not multi-year funded will be able to apply to the cultural access project funding, which is really about projects that deliver for Create New South Wales key priority area. Also to the First Nations funding program, which again is for First Nations led organisations. So they're the two access points for organisations to apply to projects.
Thank you. And we have a question from Juan. Can you advise on the selection process? Is this via panel?
Yes, so there's more details in the guidelines on the assessment process, but there are 10 art form boards who will be assessing all of the ACFP competitive funding rounds.
And the selection of the art form board is subject to the applicant. You'll be able to choose where you sit best within those 10 art form boards.
A question from Rebecca. Is it essential that you provide audited financial statements if you are a small not-for-profit organisation that doesn't legally require audited financials?
No, and Brianna's shaking her head as well. No, if you have a financial manager or someone with financial responsibility in your organization, then that would be certified by that individual.
A question from Swapna. How many projects should an organisation aim to deliver before applying for funding opportunities? What factors should be considered to determine if they have enough experience or credibility?
Ooh. Brianna, do you want to take that one?
In terms of the 2-year funding round, you can be a new organisation and you'll be able to apply for between 60 and 100,000. And we feel that that amount encapsulates organisations' capacity to actually deliver on that funding. You don't have to have project funding to be able to do that, but you do have to have had a history of operations. So you need to show that you have been delivering outcomes within arts and culture within New South Wales for that period. And that alongside your program proposals that you might put in, your governance and your ability to do budgets is what the assessors will look at in terms of determining previous experience and credibility.
And the last question I have here for the moment is, if we miss out on this funding, when will we be next allowed to apply? Is there annual or biannual submissions?
What we would like to do is it probably won't be annual because this is a 2-year program, but we do want organisations who are in receipt of 2-year funding to be able to have time and planning for this. At the moment, this funding, as Anna said, covers 2026 and 2027. So it would be looking at the next round opening in 2027.
That's all the questions we have in the chat at the moment. If anyone else wants to sneak one in. Okay, we've got one more from Lyndall. If we are successful for annual funding for 2025, sounds like we would not be eligible for 2-year funding.
No, you will be eligible for 2-year funding if you're successful for annual in 2025, because this program will then start on the 1st of January 2026.
So the annual funding that many organisations may have applied for this year was the last round of the old ACFP program, and it was to provide a bridging space for annually funded organisations. As these new funding rounds, funding doesn't start till the 2026 period.
Okay, looks like there are no more questions in the chat. Oh, there's one more.
One's just snuck in there. From Catherine, does an organisation need to be successful for 2 rounds of 2-year multi-year in order to be eligible for 4-year funding?
No, you can apply for 4-year.
Provided you meet the 4-year criteria, which is around having 100,000 turnover, being able to deliver for one of the key priority areas, primary purpose being arts and culture activity across New South Wales as well. So if you fit the eligibility criteria, you can absolutely apply for 4-year. There aren't any benchmarks that will exclude you.
I've just seen a question. Is it $60,000 minimum per year? Yes, it's per year. So not for total across the 2 years. It's a minimum of $60,000 per annum.
And Anna, correct me if I'm wrong, if you're an established organisation, it's a minimum of 100?
No, it's also a minimum of 60,
Great.
but you can apply up to 200,000.
Yeah, per year.
Per year, correct. Okay, well, thank you everyone so much for joining us today. Please do reach out to the team if you do have any further questions, and the recording will be made available on the website very soon.